version of Pass the Rock. Obviously, we're going to have two this week, one today and one Thursday. We want to start today off with a little tribute to Chris Mortensen. If none of you remember, Chris Mortensen was one of the first ever, sideline reporters, analysts that covered the entire league rather than just one team. And it's what the four of us do every week. We talk about NBA stories from your favorite team and everybody else. We talk about every NFL team. It is really, really hard work to do. And I just want to acknowledge that he was really a pioneer when it came to that. He had sources with each and every NFL team. He could get in with anyone. He had an interview with the Colts where the GM said, "Who is this Mel Kiper, this idiot Mel Kiper?" And I just want to say that it took a lot from him to be able to kind of pioneer this entire industry to now all the info at your fingertips. It's not all because of Chris Mortensen, but it's a lot of what he did and others like him at ESPN. So just want to acknowledge he passed away this weekend, and hopefully that he can rest in peace and that his family finds comfort. So this is Pass the Rock.
Could one of y'all pass the gosh darn rock? Hey, yo, I'm trying, I ain't lying, and hosting this will be Brian. Posting like Kobe Bryant, flying to see the pilot. Hit the hezzy, we got Jesse, opinions get kinda messy. A fan of out of lefties, from football to racing jackies. He go silly when he go deep, sheesh, is Zach Zeman. Teaming up with Jack, we stack the whole team, man. Pass the rock, don't stop the shot clock. Smack the slap shot, come on, now let's talk. Pass the, yo, partner, pass the rock, for real.
Sorry to get so sad, guys, but Chris Mortensen, a big legend at ESPN. So just thought we should name that. Another big legend retired today, Zach.
Yes, Jason Kelce, after 13 very successful seasons as a Philadelphia Eagle, has officially retired today. I watched that entire press conference. I teared up, I'll admit it. Very long speech he had, but it was very heartfelt. So I guess we're going to open today with a little bit of trivia about Jason Kelce's Eagles teams. So can you guys name the 10 Eagles who had the most rushing yards since 2011, which is Jason Kelce's rookie season? So there are 10 Eagles, I have them here, that have the most rushing yards since 2011.
Well, number one's got to be Shady McCoy, right?
Number one is Shady McCoy. He had over 5,000 yards in that time.
I would throw out Miles Sanders.
Number two on this list.
I think he's like one of the longer tenured ones since 2011. So,
yeah, he definitely was one of the longer tenured Eagles on this list.
What about, this may be totally stupid, but what about Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts is number three. Not stupid at all.
Wow.
So
I expected him to be 9th or 10th.
Immediately 1, 2, 3 off the board. Yeah, Hurts is immediately gone. Yeah.
All right. How about Darren Sproles?
Number 4. We're just working our way down the list right now.
All right. I got to get number 5. So I'm going to guess, depending on the timeline, DeMarco Murray.
That's what I was going to guess.
Murray is not on this list.
Oh,
no way.
Not on this list. DeMarco Murray is actually further down the list than I thought. I think he's number around like 14, 15 on this list.
Oh, you know what? I think he only played 1 year, actually.
He only played 15 games as a Philadelphia Eagle, and he amassed 702 yards. The lowest total, or maybe he played 2 years, but he didn't play a full. He didn't even play a full season with the Eagles. The lowest total on this list is 958 yards.
He had 1,800 yards the year before on the Cowboys, and then went to the Eagles, and then they did not replicate.
Yep.
So let's get a Louisiana guy in here. Give me Boston Scott.
Nice.
That is our number 5 right there.
I thought about it. Good one.
The Giants killer Boston Scott comes in at number 5.
All right. If Boston Scott made it on there, LeGarrette Blount had to, right?
LeGarrette Blount misses the cut, unfortunately.
No way.
Wow.
766 yards. I think this might only be regular season yards as well.
He was a playoff guy. He was a big playoff guy.
He was definitely more of a playoff guy, but even then, I think even if he had another 200 yards, he'd barely crack this list. So
Ooh, give me the guy who I think LeGarrette Blount was either replaced by or replaced, Jay Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi is not on this list.
He spent 3 seasons
Wow.
there.
He's not on this list. And he didn't really do a whole lot with the Eagles, actually. He
Dang.
was mostly known for the season we traded for him, that Super Bowl run. Didn't have a lot of impact after that season.
What about Jordan Howard?
Number 10 on
In 1
this
yard
list.
in 1 yard increments.
Jordan Howard is
So
number
true.
10 on this list. He had 958 yards as an Eagle.
Nice.
Oh man, that's awesome. In 1 yard increments.
You're missing 6, 7, 8, and 9. I would expect you guys to know at least 3 of these players pretty well.
Well, okay, this could be really dumb, but there was. I'm just gonna do it. Carson Wentz.
Number 8 on this list is Carson Wentz.
Let's go.
Still, to this day, has the greatest escape from a quarterback sack I've ever seen. Again, that one escape against the Redskins or against the Commanders or whatever they were called at the time.
No. Eli Manning
That-
in the Super Bowl. That
No, I'm telling you,
the helmet catch game. Come on.
Come on. All
All
right.
right.
What about
We're
Hold on.
missing
Hey,
6,
hey.
7,
We're
and
going
9.
out of
Oh, it's your
here?
turn.
Yeah,
Sorry.
skip Jesse's turn.
All right.
I got a
so
guess. I hope you don't steal it.
My guess is Super Bowl champion Corey Clement.
Super Bowl champion Corey Clement is not on this list.
Are you serious?
He is
He
not
was on the
this
Eagles
list.
for like 4 years.
He's not on this list.
Dang.
What about, I guess, technically current Eagle DeAndre Swift?
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift is number 9 on this list.
Nice.
Yeah. I just was thinking about that. He had 1,000 this year, so I guess
Yeah,
he.
he had 1,000 yards this
Right.
season, had a fantastic season. That is enough to get him on this list. So we're missing number 6 and 7.
Could it be another current Eagle, Kenneth Gainwell?
It is not Kenneth
No.
Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell is number 11 on this list.
Okay.
He has 895 total rushing yards as an Eagle.
Man. Who else were even like on the Eagles in the last?
I know.
It's
So-
got to be like the early days of his career.
So we get a
I'll-
year.
So I'll give you hints. So number 6. Actually, let me pull up his.
Brian Westbrook was too early. He was like
It's
before
not
that.
Brian Westbrook. Number 6 was an Eagle from 2009 to 2013, and number 7. This is the guy I don't expect you guys to really know. He was an Eagle from 2015 to 2016. He was 2 years an Eagle.
2 years and he had over 1,000 yards.
Yes.
I can't believe it's not Corey Clement.
How about Michael Vick?
Michael Vick is number 6 on this list.
Awesome.
Very nice. Michael Vick is number 6.
That makes sense. There's no way it's Nick Foles, right?
It is not Nick Foles.
Okay. Is it like what's his name? Is it Wendell Smallwood?
It is not Wendell Smallwood.
Great pull.
Great
Jeez.
pull. Great pull. Wendell
I'm trying to
Smallwood.
think of like weird names that I've.
All right, I've got. Was Ryan Matthews?
Ryan Matthews is number 7 on this list.
Yes.
Good
Really?
job, Ryan
go.
Matthews.
Is that
Very
it?
nice.
Do we have them
That
all?
is it. That is it. We got
Oh.
them all. McCoy, Sanders, Hurts, Sproles, Scott, Vick, Matthews, Wentz, Swift, and Howard.
Nice.
I have no memory of Ryan Matthews. I don't know why.
Ryan-
That sounds like a
Ryan-
receiver to me. I don't know why.
I remember
Yeah.
Ryan Matthews pretty well. Obviously, I'm biased.
Well, obviously you remember him.
but he was a pretty good running back for 2 years for the Eagles. Remember him and Sproles alongside each other quite a bit.
I feel like he was better for the Chargers. I want to say, right?
Yeah, he was also a Charger,
Yeah,
and he was
he's-
arguably better for the Chargers. He was there from 2010 to 2014. He was a Charger. I think he made 1 Pro Bowl, and that was with the Chargers. Yeah, it was.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then he had 2 like solid seasons in Philadelphia, and then that's it.
All right. Good
There
stuff.
we go.
All right. Up next. So we've got some some trivia going into the basketball realm now. So let me pull up the list here. And all right. So can you name 15 players to record a 30-point triple-double? So you guys can go guess in order. Go Jack, Zach, Brian.
All right. Well, I mean, the obligatory guess is Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain did it 21 times, which is 7th on the list.
Wow.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic has done it 29 times, good enough for 6th on the list.
Wow.
All right, Russell Westbrook.
48 times, which is the second most all time.
Got to go with the Big O, right?
Big O, number 1 with, guess, I'm going to give you an over-under. Big O has done this over-under 75 times.
It's got to be over.
I think he's done it
Just
like
because.
100. I think it's something
Over.
ridiculous.
Over.
106.
Oh, God.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
God, how do I follow up
Absurd.
that? And this is like they've all done it at least once, right?
Yeah. Actually, everybody on this list has done it more than 5 times that I have.
Wow.
But there's
Okay, I'm gonna say, I know it's still pretty early in his career, but he's
actually wait. I should make that correction because the list I have is just everyone who's done it 5 times. So, can you name 15 players to record a 30-point triple-double more than 5 times? So, there's your hook.
I know it's
There's
early
your
in
hook.
his career.
Halfway through.
I know it's still pretty early in his career, but I'm gonna guess Luka Doncic.
Number 3 all time with 41.
Oh. Wow.
You're gonna hate now, Brian?
Yeah, he literally averages
I have
that.
nothing to say other than he did it yesterday and it didn't help. LeBron.
LeBron, number 4 with 38.
How about James Harden?
Number 5 with 35. So you guys have 1 through 7 locked down. It is pretty wild that Luke has done it 41 times in his short time in the NBA.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
insane. I know he's
Like I thought that was a typo, but I don't think it is.
I knew he was a walking bucket, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, how many times is he getting a triple double without having scored 30? I mean, he
Right.
just like scores 30 every night. Like, book it, it's done.
Happen to get a triple double along the way.
I'm trying to think of someone. You know what? I'm just gonna. It feels like a shot in the dark at this point. I'm gonna guess that Jimmy Butler has done this.
Jimmy Butler has not done it more than 5 times.
Interesting.
Jimmy Butler's my go-to throwaway guess at this point.
And there,
Yeah.
I'll just get it out the way. Sabonis is not on this list either.
No, no. Are you
Nice.
kidding
That
me?
was we had to wait till we had one left and then guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me MJ.
MJ is on the list. He has done it 16 times. Number 9.
Give me the other MJ, Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, number 8,
Nice.
has done it 17 times.
You know,
There's
he
a
wasn't
pattern
known
here, Zach. You have a very clear guess.
He wasn't known for passing, but I'm gonna guess Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant has done it exactly 5 times.
All right.
I was gonna say Larry Bird to go with the what we were doing there.
Well, Larry Bird has also done it 17 times, tied with Magic Johnson.
How about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has also done it. He has done it 8 times.
How about Stephen Curry?
No.
Triple doubles?
I have a guess
What am I thinking?
that I don't think is right.
I don't
but
even know
wanna-
if Curry has done this once.
Yeah.
Like, probably, but
What?
Yeah, I have a guy who doesn't like to pass, and I don't think is willing to get the rebounds either. But let me guess, KD.
Kevin Durant has done it 6 times.
Oh, okay.
So that is 13 total. You guys need 2 more.
Okay. How about Scottie Pippen?
Scottie Pippen has not done it 5 times. But so you guys have you have the entire top 10 except for one guy who's also done it 17 times, and then everybody else is less than 10.
How
Well,
about Tim Duncan?
Tim Duncan has not done it more than 5 times.
Okay.
Luca
big
better than Tim
fundamental.
Duncan? Crazy.
The big fundamental. Shaq with blocks.
Shaq is not on this list. Although I would be interested if he did do that with blocks, but I don't think so.
How about Hakeem Olajuwon?
Hakeem has done it 5 times. Good job.
Good. That's a good one.
There are of the players left, there's one current player and everybody else is pretty old.
All right. How about Dirk?
No, Dirk Nowitzki is not.
He's not current or pretty old. What?
Yeah. I wanted to guess it.
By the way, Shaq has 2 triple doubles in his career. One with 10 assists playing for the Heat, and one with 15 blocks.
I would have
playing for the Magic.
loved to have been at that game where Shaq had 10 assists.
Yeah,
15
I would
points,
like to
11 rebounds, 10 assists.
Like,
And guess what, Jesse? It was against the
Against
Raptors.
the Raptors, yeah, of course. All right, last name. We need one more, and yeah, there are quite a few guys from like a longer time ago. A few like 80s, 90s, and then yeah, there's one current guy.
How many? We only have one left?
Yeah, just one left. The one current guy is not hard either.
Oh, we have one of each of those categories left?
No, you just need one name, but I'm saying of
Oh.
everybody left on my list, only one of them is current, and everyone else is like some level of old.
Current. Damn. I don't know. Jack, if you have a guess ready, go for it.
I have one. It might be stupid. Let me get Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor has done it 10 times.
Yeah.
Well done. The current player was Giannis, who's done it 17 times. Shout out to the rest of the names on this list: Jerry West, John.
That was my next
Havlicek.
guess. My next guess was going to be Jerry West.
John
How did we not
Havlicek,
guess?
Lenny Wilkins, Pete Maravich, Jason Kidd, Bob Cousy, Clyde Drexler, Richie Guerin, and actually, there's a second one. Joel Embiid also has done this 5 times.
Lovely.
That's crazy that you didn't. He was the last name on the list, but
Lovely.
well done. Yeah. All right. Up next, Zach. Going back over to you.
Yes. All right.
By the way, Zach, before you start, there's some comments in the chat. Nice haircut, looking fresh, and great beard. I don't know if that's about me or you, but it's one of us.
It has to
Yeah,
be.
definitely not me. I shaved it.
Clearly not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did get a haircut today, so thanks for noticing.
Then it's you.
There we go.
Hurt Brian's feelings.
All right. So,
Had
can
to
you
work
guys name the top 10 leaders in career 50-point games? So these players scored the most 50-point games in their career. The lowest amount on this list is 11.
How many are we naming? 10?
10, the top 10.
Can you say the
Top
hook
10.
one more time? The audio went out for me a little bit.
Okay. Can you name the top 10 Can you name the top 10 career 50-point games leaders?
All right. Number 1 has to be Wilt.
All right. Over under 100 times Wilt did it.
Over.
274 times.
How about this? Over under 130 times Wilt Chamberlain did it.
Still over.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain did it 118 times.
All right. Bad line, but
Bad line? Sure.
yeah. Number 1.
All right, number 1, by far, Wilt Chamberlain with 118 50-point games.
All right.
All right. Kobe.
Kobe Bryant is number 3 on this list with 25 50-point games.
MJ's got to be on there.
MJ is number 2 on this list with 31 50-point games.
I'm going to.
It's amazing. Just really quickly, I want to start a stat that is your percentage of like your points as a percentage of your whole team's points. Because there's way too many times in the documentary where Last Dance where they like, oh, Jordan scored 54 and they won 89 to 79. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
I'm going to say I think this guy should be number 4 or 5, James Harden.
James Harden is number 4 on this list with 23 career 50-point games.
Nice.
I'll take Kareem.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not on this list.
No.
He
Wow.
is not.
All-time leading scorer, but didn't have the 50-point games, I guess.
No, he did not have 11 or more 50-point games.
I'm going to judge this totally based on his college prowess, but knowing he had a very limited NBA career. But give me Pete Maravich.
Pete Maravich is not on this list.
What about, I mean, just from like, honestly, he's on every list so far. Luka.
Luka Doncic is not on this list yet.
I thought he might. He has like 3 this season alone.
He
I thought
probably
might.
will be, but he's not on this list yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say Joel Embiid, but if Luka was a no, I kind of feel like Embiid's also a no.
Embiid is
Um,
Embiid's in here.
Yeah. Let me get Magic.
Magic Johnson is not on this list.
He wasn't scoring like
yeah,
that.
I know. I know.
So-
He is an assist guy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so we have 1 through 4, Wilt, MJ, Kobe, and Harden.
Can you
So
tell
you're
us what the
missing-
lowest number of times they've done it is on the list?
11. I started by
Okay.
saying the lowest number of times is 11.
I started by saying, geez,
Yes, okay.
Jesse.
That's it.
What about Larry Bird?
Larry Bird is not on this list.
Damn.
I don't know why I just cut a stray there. All right. What about Steph Curry?
Steph
Oh.
Curry with 13 career 50-point
Yeah.
games is number 9 on this list.
Eat that, Brian.
Yeah, I feel like we have to lean more into the modern guys.
Yeah.
Like,
You got to
let
have
me-
3
Oh,
pointers.
you absolutely do.
Yeah, let me get KD.
Kevin Durant is not on this list.
No,
He's weird about not scoring 50. He just like gets like
Yeah, that
high
is true.
40s a lot. Like it's rare
that
for
is
him to
true.
have
I
50.
feel like I don't know. I feel like 11 times in his career he could have done that. I don't know.
So
Yeah.
of this list, there are 2 current players left.
And how many non?
Interesting.
Like
How many
2 or
non?
3?
So there's 3 players who are retired.
Okay.
2 of those
What
3
about-
players are fairly old as well.
What about Dirk?
Dirk Nowitzki is not on this list.
What about run and dunk man Giannis?
Run and Dunk Man is not on this list.
Really? He also had like 3 this season alone.
Did we say LeBron yet?
You have not said LeBron yet, and he is number 8 on this list with 14 50-point games in his career.
I honestly didn't say it because I didn't think he was on the list because he's also like not a super
Yeah,
common
I was
50
kind of like
guy.
hesitating about it, but like it's possible, you know.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's LeBron.
Embiid?
Embiid is not on this list.
I think Jack guessed him.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, sorry.
What about Shaq?
Oh,
Shaquille O'Neal is not on this list.
no.
No.
Dang,
yeah.
we suck.
I felt good about that. Out of
Yeah.
So there's 1 current player left, and you have 1 player who was biggest in the early 2000s, and there are 2 players who are much older than that.
Okay.
We already mentioned one of them earlier as well.
Oh my God! Wait, what's his name? Is it? No, never mind. That's stupid. That's stupid. Oh wait, is it Elgin Baylor?
Elgin Baylor at number 5 on this
There we
list
go.
with
Shout out to
17
Elgin Baylor.
with 17 50-point games.
Elgin
Nice.
Baylor's a legend of the day. All right.
Brian, you guessed Larry Bird, right, Brian?
Yeah.
How about Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson with 11 50-point games is number 10 on this list.
Nice.
So you're missing 2 players. One of them is a
Both
current player.
retired?
One of them's a current player.
Oh,
The other played from 1965 to 1980.
Is it Dame? Is Dame the current player?
Damian Lillard with 15 50-point games is number 6 on this list. Chat has been screaming it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
for the past
have
couple
they?
minutes. Chat has been
Yeah.
all over it.
Shout out Only Shifty in the chat.
He has been all over
What
this. He got it
about-
right. I couldn't speak, but great job.
No, it can't be him.
Wait, you said this guy's in the 60s and this guy has like 15 50-point games?
This guy has 14 50-point games. He played in the
Dang.
60s. Most
And
of his
it's not
career
Wilt
it's not Wilt Chamberlain. Most of his career was on the Warriors.
Moses Malone? No, was he?
Not
a Warrior?
Moses Malone.
Rick Barry.
Rick Barry with 14 50-point games rounds out this list.
Yeah,
At
I
number
never would have got that if you didn't say Warriors.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked when David sent that to me that it was Rick Barry on this list. But
That's
there you
wild.
go. There's your 50-point scores.
Nice. All right, moving on. So let's talk about Phil Jackson for a second. So according to Phil Jackson's 40-20 rule, which means you have to win 40 games before you lose 20 to truly be a contender, there are only 4 contenders in the NBA: the Boston Celtics, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and the Denver Nuggets. So the Milwaukee Bucks are 40-21, the Clippers are 39-20, and the Cavs are 39-21. Does this mean that all hope is lost for those 3 teams and that our champion will be one of the 4 that have beaten this rule?
Well, I mean, I can start with the Clippers. All hope was lost the second they put on their jerseys this year. I mean, the second the Clippers logo came out on their chest, the season was over. But in all seriousness, I mean, honestly, I would say my 2 championship favorites at this moment would be okay in the 40-20 rule. I would say Boston and Denver would be my 2 if I had to pick 2 right now to be the top front runners. After that, I mean, Milwaukee's got Doc Rivers now. They're bound to choke. The Clippers are the Clippers. And Cleveland, I think, is a good team, but I don't know that Cleveland's made of championship material. The 40-20 rule, it might apply this year. Like it might be more of a gut feeling, but I think the 2 best teams are Boston and Denver, and there's something off about those 3. Like I'm with Phil here.
Zach, what do you think? Do you think that the Clippers, the Bucks, or the Cavs can make it out? And, you know, in the last 30 champions, I believe 27 of them have met this criteria. So there are some that haven't, obviously. Most notably, the most recent one was the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks. They did not do it. And here they are again at 40-21.
So out of the 3 teams that do not meet this criteria but are very close to it, contrary to what Jack believes, I think I have the most faith in what the Clippers have done this season. They have the best built team, in my opinion, out of these 3. I agree with Jack's sentiment that Doc Rivers is a choke artist and that Milwaukee probably won't win with him leading the way in the playoffs. I just think you look back at Doc Rivers' reputation, which is also part of the Clippers' reputation, and you just see his track record of just blowing leads. I think that will still apply. It's the same guy. We haven't seen any change like that. So I don't have a ton of faith in Milwaukee this year, but the Clippers are just working like a well-oiled machine. As long as everyone can stay healthy, I see no reason why they couldn't defy this rule.
So I agree with Jack, and I'm going to take it a step further. I think it's absolutely Boston and Denver. I think the first round series are all going to be very exciting because I do think there's parity between like the top and bottom half of the West. But ultimately, when Denver really, really starts trying again, which I think we saw the other night after LeBron broke the record, they were like, okay, that was sweet. Now let's go ahead and play basketball. I think it's going to end up being a Boston-Denver series. So I think the first round is going to be exciting. You're going to have a little bit less exciting, and then you're going to have the NBA Finals, which is going to be awesome. So, but I think by far it's Boston and Denver, and I don't think it's particularly close in either conference. I think Minnesota could lose in the first round if they get a weird matchup like Dallas. They have the defense to stand up, but they don't necessarily always have the offense to, if a game gets out of hand, 125, 130, something like that. OKC is close. I think the number of foul calls that Shea will get will keep them in most of those games. I just think they're a year away. Same with Minnesota. So the Clippers, yes, they've been impressive. They have stretches where they've been really, really impressive, but that it's going to fizzle. And then Cleveland and Milwaukee, I just think there's no chance they're jumping Boston in the East.
All right, fair enough. Let's look at the West then, Brian. Take us away.
Fair enough. That was an anticlimactic ending there. All right. Rank the top 4 teams. Let me start that over. All right. Currently, you have 4 top seeds in the West, right? Think about that. Rank the top 4 seeds in the West by your willingness and interest in playing them. So you got
in
OKC.
the playoffs, or
yes. You want me to say that again? Oh, in round 1. I should just read the notes that I write,
Man.
and then I'd be good. I just don't want to I don't want to look like I'm reading them. All right, rank the top 4 seeds in the West based on how much you would want to see them in round 1 of the NBA playoffs. So you have OKC, Minnesota, the Clippers, and Denver. Rank them in order. Jack.
All right. Well, I think the one I would want to see most has to be OKC. I mean, I think they've been really good this year. Every part of me feels like it's a year too early. Even the run they've had this year feels like it's a year too early. They're so young, they're so talented, but I think when they're probably going to get a tough first round matchup. I feel like all those teams that are like 6 through 10 in the West right now are really solid teams, and a lot of them are pretty experienced, especially in comparison to a really young OKC team. So whether they finish with the 2 seed, the 1 seed even potentially, or if they fall to 3, I think the first round matchups in those areas for them it's just not the best. I think after that, I would want to see. Oh, I really want to say the Clippers, but I think I have to say Minnesota. I feel like the Clippers on paper are better built for a run than the Timberwolves are. I think the Timberwolves are a very good defensive team. I'm not sure they have the offensive firepower to compete with a team that's going to go out there and score an unbelievable amount of points. The Clippers are definitely third, though. I would not be surprised to see them lose in the first round because that's what the Clippers do. But they have played really well this year. On paper, they should be really good. I'm not going to be one to put my faith in them, but I would still not love to play them in the first round. They can usually win a first round series before they choke. But the team that I would be terrified to play is the Denver Nuggets. This is a team that has shown time and time again that they can coast a little bit at times in the regular season, but when the games start to count, this team is scary. They're the defending champions for a reason. In my opinion, they're by far the scariest team of the Western Conference right now, and I do not want anything to do with them if I'm, frankly, anybody in the Western Conference.
Zach?
I don't really have any disagreements. I was thinking about the exact same list as Jack was putting it together. I'm glad that you didn't put the Clippers second because I think that would be a mistake. I agree with Jack that Oklahoma City, while they're balling out right now, I do think that if they want to be a championship contender, they need a little bit more experience. Let's see how they do this year in the playoffs, and then we'll be able to reevaluate them going into next year's playoffs, where I think they'll be a real threat in the West. Minnesota is a very similar situation, although I believe that they're closer to that championship level of contention than Oklahoma City. I know people are going to give us a lot of flack for saying this because they're the top 2 seeds in the West, but I don't think regular season performance really matters that much in terms of playoff experience. So Minnesota is my second most favorable team that I'd want to play. Then the Clippers. They have a lot of seasoned veterans, a lot of veterans who know what it takes to win in the playoffs. But they are the Clippers, so you have to give them a little bit of, little hesitancy. That team is just cursed. On paper, they should be the second best team in the West, behind the Nuggets. But man, that team is cursed. And then finally, the reigning, defending NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets. Like Jack said, when the games matter, they put everything on the line. No doubt about it. I do not want to face the Denver Nuggets if I'm a Western Conference team in the first round.
Jess?
All right, in a lot less words, Minnesota number 1, OKC number 2, Clippers, Nuggets. I think that Minnesota is good, but I'm honestly OKC is the hottest team right now. And when it comes to experience, Minnesota doesn't have really that much more playoff experience, maybe a round or two. I mean, they lost in 5 to Denver last year, and they went like 6 with Memphis the year before, both of them in the first round. So 2 first-round losses isn't like a huge leg up, and I just think that OKC has been the hottest right now. So Minnesota 1, OKC 2. The Clippers do scare me more than either of the first 2 teams, just based on their roster. And if they're all healthy in round 1, and based on how hot they were before the All-Star break as well, like I don't really think anybody is beating them 4 times out of 7, unless it's the Denver Nuggets. So Denver Nuggets are the 4th team, and definitely don't want to see the defending champs last.
Yeah, I agree with Jesse. I think the Clippers are 3rd on this list. I think y'all are giving. I mean, Jax obviously, has hatred for them being a in-city rival, but and I don't mean rival in the fact that they win a lot against the Lakers. I just mean they're there. But that team scares me. If I'm thinking about the Pelicans and how they match up or whatever, give me the Timberwolves, because all I have to do is score over 110, and I feel pretty confident about that. I don't want to mess with Shea, but I'll take them, before the Clippers, and then Denver's obviously last. I think the Clippers team, it was an experiment I didn't think would work, and I think it's worked a ton. So I could see them, it's sad because those top 4 teams, and I guess whenever there's a top 4 team, there's never any glaring weaknesses. But with New Orleans being 5th and knowing you're gonna have to play one of these teams, that's the order I would go with. And the Clippers kind of scare me.
Zach, I don't think that's really breaking news. Wasn't Russell Wilson already set to be cut?
I mean, not officially.
Officially?
Now officially that he'll be cut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson being released. The Steelers still don't want him because they just refuse to get a quarterback.
They refuse to be anything but mid.
Jack, if you could pick any quarterback available to lead the Steelers next year, who would you want to be the face of the Steelers next year?
Justin Fields, 100%. And here's why. It's not because I'm a Justin Fields truther or anything like that. I want a guy that is either going to be amazing or horrible. I want high risk, high ceiling, low floor, because if he's really good, awesome, quarterback of the future. And you're no longer mid. If he sucks, awesome. Maybe you actually get a high draft pick and can draft the quarterback of the future. I just do not want to be mediocre anymore. And that's enough Steelers ranting for me, because I could go on for hours. I'll control myself.
So I'm going to hop the question back to Zach and say, does Russell Wilson get a starting job? Is he starting week 1 in 2024?
I'm going to say no at this point. I feel like this is a pretty strong class of quarterbacks. I think there's going to be some QB needy teams drafting those quarterbacks and starting them immediately, throw them into the fire, see what they got. I don't think Russell Wilson starts week 1. He'll be the backup. He'll be, a highly touted backup quarterback. I don't know if we're going to see him starting week 1. I think there's going to be a rookie that's going to be starting over him. He's going to have to mentor them. And then when they fail, he'll start week 2. But I don't think he's going to be starting week 1.
So the other 2, you both shook your heads. What team does he start for next year, potentially?
I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that they're going to end up with them. They drafted a rookie quarterback, and I don't think the Aiden O'Connell thing is going to work out. He looked okay at best in some games last year, but I think that's a chance for them. The Jimmy G thing didn't work out, and I think that Russell Wilson's a good option for them.
I could see that.
I for sure like that. I also kind of like the idea of, in a world where Kirk Cousins leaves, I could see him being a bridge quarterback for the Vikings. And then the Vikings also draft maybe a JJ McCarthy or something like that to sit and learn behind a guy like Russ, who's been through a lot. I think that makes a lot of sense for me. And I think that's the kind of role that a team will want Russell Wilson to be in. Not like a guy that you see being your starter for the next 5 years, but a guy you bring on a 1, maybe 2-year deal to mentor one of these young quarterbacks. And I think he could do well in that role.
I could also see him in Atlanta if they don't get Fields.
Yeah.
Just a stopgap. He's not going to make hardly any money, so they'll just pay him, whatever. Not league minimum, obviously, but not a big contract. And then you see what you got in Atlanta.
It's just so funny how much the Broncos traded for Russell
Oh
Wilson,
my god, yeah.
and to just release him after a year is kind of crazy.
And
The amount of think about the two Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson in the same year being traded, and the amount of assets, and I mean, obviously Deshaun's still on the team, but
The
Yeah.
debate between which of those trades is worse will be like that will be as old as time, and I don't think there will
Yeah.
ever be a correct answer.
last year in Russell Wilson's career, lowest total yards, lowest yards per game of his career, which is kind of crazy. to think
with
about.
Sean Payton.
Just
Low
real
it.
quick,
Also give a first round pick.
just to read out what Russell Wilson was traded for. So Russell Wilson and a 4th round pick. In exchange, the Seahawks received Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, 3 first-round picks that became Charles Cross, Tyreek Smith, and Devin Witherspoon, Boya Mafe, and Derek Hall, both second-round picks. So 3 firsts, 2 seconds, 3 players as well, one of which who might start at quarterback for the Seahawks next year. I don't know if it's going to be Drew Lock or if they're running Geno Smith again. And Shelby Harris is pretty good, and Noah Fant is their starting tight end. So 8 players for a guy you release after 1 year.
And I'm just saying, if they had traded Devon Witherspoon for Russ straight up, that would have been a ripoff in itself.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think there actually might be a case that this trade is somehow worse than the Watson one because Watson might actually end up playing more games than Russell Wilson did. And they made the playoffs.
Jesus Christ. Here's the craziest thing I'm seeing about this deal, right? By releasing Russell Wilson, the Broncos will take on an NFL record $85 million in dead money. For context, that's more than the last 2 dead money records combined. That is by far the most dead money in NFL.
If you want to ask how much does Sean Payton hate Russell Wilson, it's $85 million worth.
That is insane. They're paying $85 million to not have Russell Wilson on the team.
That's wild.
Mr. Unlimited, baby. All right. Moving on. We go back to the NBA here. So we talked about most improved last week, and we talked about the defensive player of the year. Let's talk about one of the other awards left. So who deserves the 6th man of the year award in the NBA? Our award front runner right now, Malik Monk, Norm Powell, Tim Hardaway Jr., Karis LeVert, Naz Reid, Russell Westbrook, and Ben Mathurin lead the way currently in the odds on whatever betting site you use. So Malik Monk currently the leader. He plays a lot of minutes for the Kings as well. But he's currently the leader. So Jack, I'll ask you first. Who should be 6th man?
I mean, my pick would be Naz Reid. I think he's been awesome this year. I think that he's such a huge piece of what the Timberwolves do. Just serving as that 3rd big man in the Cat, Gobert, and obviously Naz Reid rotation. But it's not just Cat and Gobert. Like when you talk about why the Timberwolves are so successful down low, Naz Reid is a key piece of that. And he might not have the counting numbers that some of these other guys do, but if we're talking as far as impact of what this guy does on the floor, that's what you want in a 6th man, a guy that's going to come in off the bench, be a spark. And when you have to rest one of your 2 all-star level guys that are big men, you've got a guy that can step right in. You feel completely comfortable with him in the game. That's the definition of a 6th man of the year.
All right, Zach, what do you think?
I mean, if we're talking about a spark plug, Malik Monk is the 3rd highest scorer on his team right now. There's a reason why he's the favorite. He's been going off recently. I know we just saw him score 39 the other night, but he's averaging 15.4 points a game, 15 points a game off the bench, being the 3rd highest scorer. Definitely the spark plug that the Kings want off their bench to continue their high-powered offensive style of play. So I think there's a reason he's the favorite. As long as he keeps it up, he could definitely win this award.
Brian?
I love the Naz Reid pick, and I love that because generally once you win a 6th man of the year, then the next year you're a starter. And I think everything points to Naz Reid being paired with Rudy Gobert in the future. And then obviously, whatever has to happen with Cat does. But I would also like to honorably mention Russell Westbrook. He should win it, not just because of what he does by bringing, by coming off the bench and leading the 2nd unit, but because it was his idea. And this is Russell Westbrook, one of the let's just say, shoot first, obviously, build up the stats kind of guys. And he did something that was really, really, really good for the team, kind of without the coach, having to come up with the ideas himself. So I think Russ deserves it from that standpoint that he said, I can make this team better by going to 6-man, and maybe I win an award I've never won.
I actually 100% agree with Brian. I think Russell Westbrook embracing what it means to be a 6-man and not just coming off the bench and scoring 15 points a game like most of the guys who win this award do, but truly leading the second unit and embracing that. Not to mention he's on the best contract in the NBA. Like $4 million for Russell Westbrook is insane. He earns less than probably most of the 7th, 8th guys on a bench on most NBA teams. And this is a former MVP who's not that far removed from being that good. So yes, it's not the same Russell Westbrook that we've usually seen, but the fact that he was willing to take the contract and the role of being a 6-man is why guys like Carmelo Anthony aren't in the league anymore. And he is. So I think Russell Westbrook embodies what it means to be a 6th man. And, he does start some games for them, but I think overall he just embodies what this award is. The other name I do want to give a shout out to is Tim Hardaway. I think that he's been really, really great this year for Dallas. The hard part is he started so much for Dallas in his 5 or 6 years there that I just don't really think of him as a 6th man. I know it's kind of a newer role for him since the Kyrie Irving trade, but he started so many games for the Dallas Mavericks that he's just kind of a Maverick starter in my mind at this point. But he's also just easy 15 points off the bench when you need it. So overall, we'll see. Malik Monk has started actually 0 games this season. All the other guys have started 5 or 10. Malik Monk has started none. He plays 26 minutes a night, most of that off the bench. So shout out Malik. Let us know in the comments who you think should be 6th man of the year. I think it should be maybe Grady Dick. Who knows by the end of the year? It's funny that Norman Powell and Russ are on this, though.
At the rate the Raptors are going, Grady Dick might be a starter by the end of the year.
That's true. It's funny that Norm Powell and Russ are on this list, and Norm is actually higher on the odds than Russell Westbrook is, being on the same team. All right, time for Zach's favorite part of the show where we get to talk about Glenn Rivers. So the Milwaukee Bucks have won 5 straight since the All-Star break, but they have a very tough stretch ahead. So I'm going to read you their next 10 games, and I want you to predict their record in these next 10 games. All right, Zach? So Milwaukee won 5 in a row. They face the Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, the Sixers, the Suns, Celtics, Nets, and Thunder. So of all of those teams, I believe the Nets are the worst, record-wise. Maybe the Lakers, actually. But so in those 10 games, how many are the Bucks winning?
Wait, did you just say the Nets are better than the Lakers record-wise? The Nets are 10 games back of the Lakers.
I have no idea what the Nets record is, honestly.
All right,
I think the Warriors are worse than the Lakers right now too. So.
I believe they are too, but the Nets are 24 and 36.
All right.
They're by far the worst.
So the Nets are the
easy on the Lakers strays here.
So I believe the Nets are actually the only team. The Nets are the only team under 500 on this entire list. So
I'm just gonna say, looking at that 5-game win streak, they beat the Timberwolves. They outscored the Timberwolves, so that's a legitimate win. They beat my injured 76ers. They beat the Hornets in back-to-back games they beat the Hornets twice. That's nothing. And they beat the Bulls, which I also count as a nothing burger. So looking at this schedule, they play the Clippers.
Okay, they're on a 2-game win streak.
they're not even that. So looking at the schedule, I think the Clippers match up really well with the Bucks. I think that's 2 losses right there. The Warriors and Lakers games, they're both away. It looks like the Bucks are on they're going to be on a 4-game West Coast road trip with the Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, and Kings. And I mean, I feel like that's a pretty tough stretch for them. I could see them easily going 1-3 in that stretch alone. So what is that now? That's now 1-4 in the first 5. Then they host the Sixers. That's going to be a win. So 2-4. Then the Suns, Celtics, Nets, and Thunder is what's left. Jesus, that is brutal. I'm gonna say they go 3-7 over the next 10 games.
Oh
That's
my
honestly
God.
not. That's honestly not bad because it's tough, and they face.
It's a really tough schedule plus a 4-game West Coast road trip. That can be brutal for a lot of Eastern Conference teams going all the way out west. So I've seen it before. I'm sure it will happen again. I think there's a legitimate chance they go 3-7 on this 10-game stretch.
All right, Brian, what do you think? Bucks in the next 10 games.
They're going to be 6-4. I don't have. Look, I was the one that was most against the Bucks trade for Dame and what that did for their team by getting rid of Drew Holiday. So, like, take that there. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they're really going to put up much of a fight with Boston in the playoffs. But I think if you look at this schedule, I'm only worried about 5 games for them: Boston, OKC, Phoenix, and 2 Clippers games. So I'm giving them a split with the Clippers and losing to Boston, OKC, Phoenix. Now, you may be able to trade 1 or 2 of those games with, like, the Lakers or Golden State, but I have really been unimpressed by those 2 teams of late. So I'll give Milwaukee 6-4 in this stretch. I don't think it's a great stretch. I don't think they, gain any major ground, but they're going to win more than they lose. They're just too good.
All right, Jack.
All right. I think 6-4 is like the absolute ceiling that I see. I could see it. I think I'm going to say 5-5. I think they lose at one of the Golden State or Laker games. I don't think they win both of those. That 4-game West Coast trip is absolutely brutal. I actually think Sacramento is another one that's droppable. And I will just have the Lakers, I believe, are 9-3 in their last 12. So take that as you will. But I think that this is a rough stretch for the Bucks for sure. I'll say 5-5. I think that's fair and realistic.
Yeah, we'll see. So they were 40-21 going into this stretch. We'll see if they come out what they come out with. I think personally they go around 5-5 as well. I think they split the Clippers series. I think that they lose to Boston, and I think that they lose probably OKC and then one other game somewhere in there. But I feel good about them beating the Warriors. The Warriors cannot match up with them at all. The Lakers will be a tough one. You have LeBron and AD. It's a good matchup in the front court. But Sacramento could be very high scoring, and that kind of fits their philosophy of abandoning defense, going with the Dame thing. And then I think that they could probably take Phoenix, and depends because Devin Booker also just got hurt. So it depends if he's back by then.
Yeah.
And also Bradley Beal sits out every other night, and depends how Kevin Durant's feeling, if he wants to shoulder the whole load. And Brooklyn sucks. They should definitely win that game. So it's going to be a tough stretch, but honestly, this is going to be a make or break 10 games for the Bucks. I think they've won 5 straight. They're starting to gel a little bit, and we'll see. They're going to be put to the test against 10 very solid opponents. So, and after that, they actually play the Lakers again. I think the 11th game after that. So it's going to be fun for them, and we'll see how the Bucks do in that 10-game stretch, and whether or not they'll still be the 2 seed in the East. So on to our last clip of the day. So let's draft a starting 5 of March Madness legends, and our college nerd has the first overall pick of this draft.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy that we're talking college basketball. It's March. We're feeling good. And I don't think there's any single player that can represent March Madness more than the 2011 Cardiac Kemba Walker run. I think that has to be the number 1 pick. It might not be the greatest single player of all time, but that 2011 run with UConn and Kemba Walker is the most impressive tournament run ever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great first pick. There's a lot of players I feel like you could go early in this. But for my money, give me Carmelo Anthony in his lone year at Syracuse going all the way to the Natty. Just a phenomenal tournament run there.
Nice. Yep, that's a good one. All right, I'm going to take one of the best players from not a huge school and give me Steph Curry from his Davidson run at the point.
There was no run.
Well, I mean, his.
You're just taking step. I get it.
days,
I get
yeah.
it.
I mean, no, they did. They pulled off an upset. I think they beat Gonzaga. Maybe it was.
Yeah, they
and
won
he
one
31
game
yeah.
one year. Yeah.
And he went crazy in that game. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that. I mean, he was the NCAA season scoring leader in what was it, 08 or whatever.
I think it's,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not just about the tournament and how it ends. It's about him being that good in college. Anyway,
I got you. All right. So I get 2 picks on the turn here, and I don't want to go too old by picking Kareem or anything crazy like that. But I am going to take Christian Laettner, a player that I hated when he played at Duke, and so did half of the country. But he was money when he needed to make a game-winning shot. He was always tough to eliminate. Number 2, I'm going to zag a bit and go Caitlin Clark because we're going to be shooting from the logo, and she's played in the NCAA tournament every year she's been in college. So give me Caitlin Clark.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of women's college basketball.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
I don't know if any other women are going to get drafted, but that's a good pick.
I mean, she's that great that she deserves to be drafted here, I guess.
Yeah, shout out Caitlin. All right, I get another pick here. So Laettner's off the board. I think this is just like one of the most dominant players I've ever seen on a college basketball court. Give me Zion Williamson. We're going to put him at the power forward spot. And I haven't watched that many March Madness runs in my life, but that single run with that Duke team, with him, Reddish, and Barrett, I think is the most entertaining college basketball I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah, I will always remember the game they played against UCF when they had Taco Fall.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God.
That's exactly the game I was just thinking of in my mind, that they won by like 1 point, and it was wild.
I'll always
And he
remember.
destroyed a shoe in a
That's
game.
what
Ripped a shoe
that's
open.
the game I remember most from Zion's college tenure because it was so short and he just went boom right to the NBA. But his shoe got absolutely mangled. But if we're talking memorable college players, memorable tournament runs, I don't think there's pretty much no one more memorable besides a few players on this list like Cardiac Kemba. Give me Jimmer Fredette. I'm shocked Jimmer made it this far.
I thought he was going to make it back to me somehow, and I was going to snap.
Former Pelican great, by the way, Jimmer Fredette.
I'm just saying there was a time when people used to always say Kobe. There was a time people said Jimmer instead. That's how great he was in college.
Yeah, and that kid got run off the basketball court. By
Good
the way.
pick, Zach. Good pick.
All right. All right. My next pick is gonna be. You know what? This might not make the most sense as far as fit, but we're gonna have to make it work because there's no way this guy should still be here. We're gonna go back in time a little bit. 1979, Magic Johnson had one of the most unbelievable tournament runs ever and one of the most memorable national championship games ever, beating Larry Bird, of course, in Indiana State. So got to take Magic, and we'll figure it out with him and Kemba. I'm sure they'll be fine. And then
Kemba's going to take a side. He's going to just be the off guard. Just to be clear.
No, but I mean, look, if I want someone to hit a buzzer beater, though, I think I'm going to Kemba.
Yeah, fine.
All right. And then I have to go with my biased pick next. It's got to be Frank Kaminsky. I mean, come on. I can't let him fall. I need him on my team. And he was unreal in 2015 when Wisconsin made it all the way to the national championship only to lose to Duke. We don't talk about it. But Frank Kaminsky was unbelievable in that national championship run.
That is ridiculous.
Look up his stats. Watch the highlights. He was unreal.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the 5 best centers to ever play in NCAA basketball.
All right.
I
Well,
agree.
Brian, earlier you picked a hated Duke player. I'm going to take another hated Duke player. Give me JJ Redick here.
Nice.
Absolutely. I have 2 sharpshooters and Carmelo Anthony on my team so far. I like what I'm cooking so far. Got my 1 through 3 right there.
All right. Well, I think I just have to do the boring thing and take the greatest college player of all time and give me Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem, but specifically when he was still Lou Alcindor. 3 national championships, 3 college players of the years, absolute dominance at UCLA. I'm surprised that he made it this far. Frank Kaminsky over Lou Alcindor is crazy.
That's a little.
I was definitely thinking I was going to take like Lou Alcindor came back to me again, but I'm glad you did. He fell way too far.
Yeah.
Frank the Tank supremacy, baby.
All right.
All right. I'm going to take it's so tempting. There's one player that I like and rooted for, and one player I rooted for very briefly, but then he broke our hearts by going to the Lakers. Anyway, give me Shaquille O'Neal. I'm going to have to deal with Lou Alcindor somehow, and that's not the game that Leitner has. So give me him. And then we're going to need a basket late, and we're just going to go to a guy that does nothing but win championships, doesn't ever lose them, Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. My front court's pretty good. Back court could use some help, but I'm gonna solidify my small forward and give him a teammate that won a couple championships together. Give me Kevin Durant from his Texas days at the small forward. Him and Steph teaming back up. I'm loving the squad we got.
Okay. I gotta go with the big here. Couple of names pop
You
out.
have to. You're going to get destroyed by me and Jesse if you don't get a pick.
Well,
what do you mean, like you and Jesse? Frank Kaminsky, come on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
I feel pretty happy taking the one-time national champion from Georgetown University, Patrick Ewing, here with my fourth pick.
Good call.
Solid.
He
Yeah,
also
debating
lost
that.
the championship, like in the championship game. So he's got a lot of experience.
Yep. All right.
And he coached Georgetown too, didn't he?
He did.
He did.
He
He
was
was
not
four.
the coach for Georgetown. We are not talking
What kind of shot is that?
We are not talking about his coaching tenure.
Pat, just go sit on the bench. I got this. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great.
All right, Jack.
All
Two
right.
final picks here.
Yep, got to round out the squad, and I've got two pretty good ones here. So I'll take a two-time national champion. Oh my God, two-time national champion Al Horford was dominant in his Florida days, and led them to two national championships. So fantastic player. I think he's going to be a nice big man duo there with Frank the Tank. And then I really need a forward. That's where I think I was lacking most with guys on my list here. And I'm going to go with a guy that had a really incredible Cinderella run. Give me Gordon Hayward from when he was at Buffalo.
Nice.
Had a fantastic Cinderella run to take that team all the way to the national championship and was so close to winning it. And would have been probably the greatest Cinderella story ever.
Okay. With this final pick,
I'm not scared of Jack's team, by the way.
Ooh, there's
I have true March Madness legends here. I wasn't going for the flashy names. I want March Madness glory.
you were not.
I have
going
that
for
in everyone but Shaq.
You were not going for the flashy names, but there's oh my God, there's one player who I have left on my list who complements this team perfectly. A one and done player who won the national championship in his only year there. Give me Kentucky Anthony Davis.
Nice.
Phenomenal single season at Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's the Carmelo Anthony story too. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
All right.
same story, but actually he didn't do as well in the national championship, but his season as a whole was dominant.
oh yeah.
All right, I got to take probably a shooting guard now. I was a little lost, but Jack said it's all about taking the guys who are really stood out in college. Let me get a two-time NCAA champion, a guy who had one of the best March Madness runs that really shot his name up in the draft stock, and he's having a great year now. Give me Dante DiVincenzo at the shooting guard. Amazing from Villanova. I know there's a lot of options you could go, but two-time champion. He was huge in both of those runs, and he's having quite a nice little career for himself now in the NBA. And he was a Warrior last year, so he already knows how to play with Steph.
That's a great
news.
pick. That's the kind of pick I love to see.
There you go.
All right. I'm gonna end it all here with a guy that let's just say had a heck of a run in the 2000 season, and from Michigan State, from Flint, Michigan. So he deals with tough stuff all the time. He can't even drink his own water. Okay. Give me Mateen Ahmad Cleaves of the Michigan State Spartans, who had an unbelievable run to win the tournament that year for Michigan State and Tom Izzo. He's going to lead my squad. He's going to be bringing the ball up. Jordan, just get to your spot, and Caitlin, just run to the logo and be ready.
I can't wait to see Zach attempt to spell that name in the notes.
I have no idea what I'm doing here.
I was waiting for it.
How do you spell that name?
It's here. I'll just do it for you.
Thank
If you don't know about Mateen Cleaves, obviously not a huge NBA success, although he played for 9 years in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Check him. Oh, that's a mistake. Check him out. I'm leaving it that big in our notes. Check him out because he had one heck of a run. It was crazy.
All right, Mateen Cleaves.
man.
Look it up if you don't know it. I don't know it, so I will look it up. So shout out him. I was contemplating Dante DiVincenzo's a good pick. Maybe I should have taken John Morant. Maybe I should have taken Dwayne Wade. But
I
Dante.
was contemplating
Dante.
Larry Johnson as well. UNLV.
Grandmama.
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 My two main honorable mentions: Derrick Rose, 2008 Memphis, outstanding, and Glenn Rice, 1989 Michigan.
Danny Manning, 1980. What year was he? 88 for Kansas was huge too. He had a long NBA career too.
Surprised Jack didn't take Shabazz Napier, but
That he was the next on my honorable mention.
Oh, and Akeem Olajuwon. Like we should name Akeem
Yeah,
Olajuwon.
he was not drafted.
yeah, he's
Anyways.
all right.
Comments. Who won? Who won this draft?
I think I cooked. No
I
cap.
I
I think I cooked, y'all.
I think there's only 2 teams on this list, and it's me and Jesse, and that's it.
No, I cooked.
I've got the guys that performed. I got the guys that did it. They were there.
Yes,
Zach,
but if they played
I
in
just
a
wanna-
game against these
I
guys,
just want to know Zach's team has absolutely 0 facilitators. It's just shooters and then AD and Ewing.
I have
yeah,
walking
who's
buckets.
JJ Redick breaking the ball up? I guess
I have
That
walking
was
buckets.
Jimmer.
maybe
I have
Jimmer.
walking buckets.
Anthony
If
Davis. will
Jimmer
probably
brings the
bring
ball up, no one else will have any stats.
Yeah,
It's probably Anthony
you
Davis
don't
bringing
need
it
to-
up.
It's AD.
It's probably Melo bringing it up.
Yeah, wait, no, this is college AD, so he was still a guard at that point, so he can bring the ball up for you.
Oh my god, that's
Unbelievable.
awesome.
Four
No, that's
out-
awesome, and it's
four
a couple
out
weeks
style
away.
basketball.
and
All
we'll
right.
be,
Four out, one in.
Well,
will
that's all
definitely
we
be
have from the
watching
notes
some
today.
March Madness.
However, before we leave, I think we should have fun and we should play the ultimate roster from today because it'll be
Ooh.
fun. Let me
Let's
get
do
it
it.
the right size. All right, let's play the ultimate roster from today. We've got Super Bowl squads from Super Bowl 48, I believe, if my math is correct. So anybody who played in the 2013 regular season on the Broncos or Seahawks. So, I mean, quarterback has to be Peyton Manning. There's just that's it.
I don't know.
that's the
Yeah,
year he broke the
Broncos.
record. It's the year he broke the record.
Is it?
2013? Yeah.
That he broke which record?
The passing touchdowns
Yeah.
record.
Oh, you're right.
When he
You're
had the
right.
50.
He had
whatever.
55 that
Yeah,
year.
you're right.
Whatever.
You're right. It was. I got confused with Super Bowl 50 for a second.
So
You're right.
2015 was his last year, and he was horrible
he was
that year.
not good. Yeah.
But
No,
2013 is 100% this year.
Well, then you
Which-
have to put his receiver,
Demarius Thomas.
Demarius
for
Thomas.
sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's definitely him, and then
It's a good
Gotta be
chance.
Marshawn
Marshawn
Lynch.
Lynch.
Beast mode.
Marshawn Lynch.
Beast mode.
yeah, it has to be Marshawn. So the Broncos running back that year, I believe, was either C.J. Anderson or someone of the like. So I don't think he's close.
Either
On the-
way, it's not beast mode.
No, but I was going to say for the flex,
Oh,
I don't know if that could be
oh.
him. So tight end, I think, is Julius Thomas. I believe that was the Broncos tight end that year.
Sounds right.
I don't remember who the Seahawks one was at that point. I think that's too
Jimmy
early.
Graham.
No, it's too early for Jimmy Graham.
It
No.
was too early.
Was
It was
it-
close. It might have been the
Jimmy
year
Graham, I
after.
think, was still like a
Him?
Packer
Was-
or a.
Was it like
Saints?
Zach?
No, he was a
Zach-
Seahawks.
Oh,
We
really?
traded him. The Saints
I don't-
traded him to the Seahawks.
I don't think it was anyone notable from Seattle at this point. So I'm willing to say it was Julius Thomas.
Yeah.
Zach,
I
what do you
think
think about this flex?
I remember.
Hmm. Flex is tough. 'cause I
Doug
feel like
Baldwin?
Doug Baldwin's definitely an option. Percy Harvin was
Yeah.
on this team.
Jermaine Curse?
Jermaine
Yeah.
Curse. Could be Jermaine Curse.
I don't mind Percy Harvin.
Golden
like
Tate.
he
was
Could be
the
Golden
second-
Tate. Hold on. It could be Golden Tate. Remember,
Who
Golden
was
State
the
on his
second?
team.
But
Yeah,
Broncos
for,
receiver.
Was it Emmanuel Sanders?
Was it Wes
He was
Welker?
there yet?
Oh,
'Cause
Wes
55
Welker.
55
It might be Wes
touchdowns.
Welker.
There's a lot left.
Oh, or is it Eric Decker?
Eric Decker, I think, also might have been in that situation.
I think I like the idea of it being Wes Welker. I want to say it's
That-
Wes Welker.
Was he already?
It's probably a
Bronco?
Bronco. He was a
I-
Patriot until like 2012, I want to
think
say.
this has to be Wes Welker's first or second year on the
I think
Broncos.
2013 was his first because 2012 he was still a Patriot.
Yeah,
I really think
Yeah.
it's Wes Welker.
it's gotta be. I think it has to be Welker or Decker. I think those are the two best options. But if you're confident that Welker was already a Bronco,
He definitely was a Bronco in that season. I think it was his first. It might have been his second because I know that he was part of the group that was catching balls from Peyton that year. The only thing is if Eric Decker had a better season with the Broncos. I know that they both had like a good amount of years, and I think Eric Decker might have balled out and then left the year after because I remember he went to the Jets like shortly after that, either in 2014 or 15. So
tough.
it's Decker or Welker toss up.
You're like talking me into Decker.
Eric Decker definitely had at least 1 or 2 years where he was outstanding for the Broncos.
Yeah. Well, so with
He got
55 passing touchdowns, you have Demaryius Thomas probably had 10, and then Julius Thomas probably had like 8 or something. But you could bet that between Sanders, if Emmanuel Sanders was there, Decker and Welker, there's still like another like 35, 40 touchdowns to go around. So they all could have had like somewhere in the 7 to 10 range.
I think I feel slightly better about Decker.
Yeah.
All right, let's run Eric Decker. Eric Decker, you are a Denver Bronco. Let's see. Oh, wait.
All right.
It's
Ooh.
not Marshawn Lynch?
Who else would it be?
Noshawn Moreno. Oh, my God.
Everything.
Well, we got
There's
Eric-
not one Seahawk. There's no Seahawk on the list.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
All
crazy.
Broncos.
Wow.
They're really asses for making this a Seahawks and Broncos list just to bait you into putting Marshawn. And then
Marshawn's probably like the number 2 answer or something.
Every single person that played this put Marshawn Lynch.
he's down
Oh,
there by 21 points total.
Wow.
Unreal. Eric Decker, though, is the number 1. I wonder what Wes Welker had that year. So Eric Decker had 1,280 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2013. And Wes Welker had 10 touchdowns and 770 yards. So that was actually his lowest season. Right before that, though, he had 2 pretty monster years with the Patriots. So well done.
Very nice.
All right, that's all for today, for today's Pass the Rock. We will be back on Thursday, and our Madden franchise is off to the races and running. Me and Zach are playing each other in week 1. He's going down. I don't care if he has CeeDee Lamb on the Eagles. You're not.
Do we get a live stream of that in our
should.
Discord?
We could stream in Discord. I don't know if Zach wants to play later tonight or tomorrow, so we'll see.
Probably
I think
tomorrow.
He's
Jesse
running.
Maggs
He's
asked
scared.
who's throwing the football?
Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna have to throw. I've got a great O-line and Jahmyr
Deshaun
Gibbs.
Watson.
I'm gonna run the ball 28 times with Jahmyr Gibbs. And we're gonna see what
It's the
happens.
quarterback matchup of the century. It's Baker Mayfield against Deshaun Watson.
Hey, don't forget I have Hendon Hooker on the bench too. He might come in for a play.
Ooh, okay. Ooh.
All right. We'll see you then. We'll see everybody here back on Thursday. Until then, I'll be 1-0 at our next recording. So, Brian, I know you're not in control.